Barry Coates.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Tēnā koe.
Tēnā koe.
This bill is very welcome. I rise to take a short call. I and my Green Party colleagues warmly welcome the introduction of this bill and congratulate Mr Bishop and the Select Committee for the hard work that they've put into it, as is obvious by the extensive rewriting. We agree the principle of 100% compensation for lost earnings. We think that's fair, and we welcome the removal of discriminatory treatment amongst donors. I am in the position, as many of us do, as having friends who have been organ donors and have received organs. And from personal experience, both sides of that donation are immensely difficult processes. I had the great honour of knowing John Lomu, and I have a good friend who's currently on dialysis. The issues for organ donors are profound. This is a major undertaking, and certainly this bill, I think, recognises that by way of financial assistance, and I would welcome the title becoming more like compensation than financial assistance. But it's also a huge deal for the organ recipient, and I think we have to remember the people who spend long hours on dialysis, the pain and suffering that they experience with kidney failure, and the huge costs that are borne by families, by communities, and by the country as a whole. The quality of life when an organ donation is made and is successful is huge. The organ recipient is able to benefit from decent food, from water, from exercise, from travel, from such an increase in the quality of life, that this bill should hopefully enable New Zealand to up our rates of live organ donation. And 'tis a worry that we are one of the lowest rates of organ donations in the world. As other speakers have noted, there are significant numbers of Māori and Pacifica who will benefit from this bill, and they're disordinately affected by kidney failure. So this is a good bill, good for those incredible donors, good for needy recipients, good economics, and good for our health system. And I just wanted to conclude that we shouldn't really stop there. We should also be asking, why are we having the level of this problem that we do? What is it that is causing such a high rate of failures of organs in New Zealand, particular kidney failures? And one of the reasons is New Zealand has one of the highest rates of diabetes in the world, and diabetes causes complications for kidneys, which are particularly at risk from diabetes. And taking action on diabetes and obesity should be a major focus of our health policy. This is one of the areas where we spend an inordinate amount of money on measures to treat a problem, but we spend far too little time on prevention. And the health prevention with regard to diabetes is important for our society, both at an individual level, a community level, and as a country as a whole. And I should say it's incredibly important to our Pacific neighbours. And many of the Pacific countries, I think the latest figures show that 9 out of 10 countries in the world with the highest rates of diabetes are Pacific Island countries. So we ought to be recognising that this is a problem for us here in Aotearoa, but it's also a major problem for our Pacific neighbours. So certainly we would hope that the government may be listening sympathetically when the Green Party stands up and talks about the need for sugar taxes, and when we talk about the need for proper health education around diet and nutrition. I would also add that we ought to be looking at the things that we export to the Pacific, such as waste meat exports that are a contributing factor to diabetes in the Pacific. So again, my congratulations to the Chair and the Select Committee for this bill. We strongly support it. Thank you, Mr. Chair.